All right, let's jump right in. Today, we're going to break down a really insightful business report about artificial intelligence. But we're not talking about some sci-fi future. We're talking about a strategic tool that's ready for you to use right now. We're going to see how AI is less about replacing people and a lot more about giving them superpowers. You know, this quote right here, it's the perfect place to start, because it cuts right to the chase. The biggest hurdle to getting real value from AI, it isn't the code or the hardware. It's organizational. It's about your culture, your strategy, and your people. Let's keep that idea locked in as we go. So, just so we're all on the same page, when we say AI in a business context, what do we really mean? Look, it boils down to something pretty simple. It's about technologies that let computers learn from data, spot patterns, and then either automate a process or predict what might happen next. That's it. That's the engine driving everything we're about to talk about.
And that leads us perfectly into our first big idea, thinking of AI as your strategic co-pilot. This isn't just another piece of software you buy. It's a fundamental partner in building a smarter, faster, and more competitive business.
So, why should you even care? Well, it really comes down to these three things: speed, efficiency, and reliability. In today's market, these aren't just nice-to-haves, they are literally what separates the leaders from everybody else. This is the core why behind any investment in AI. Let's just walk through this real quick. Automation and efficiency, that frees up your brilliant human team to solve bigger problems. Accuracy? Well, that eliminates human error and builds trust in your results. But the real game changer? That's prediction and foresight. The ability to stop just reacting to what's happening and start anticipating what's going to happen. And this is probably the most crucial takeaway from this whole section. AI is not here to fly the plane on its own. It's your co-pilot. It's there to manage the thousands of complex systems, give you critical data in real time, and handle the routine stuff, so that you, the human pilot, can focus on the ultimate destination and navigate any turbulence along the way. It's all about augmenting your insight, not replacing it.
Okay, so that's the high-level strategy. But what does this co-pilot actually look like in the real world? Let's take a quick tour through a few key parts of a business and see this thing in action.
Think about sales and marketing for a second. For decades, the whole game was just spray and pray, right? You'd blast one message out to as many people as possible and just hope that some of it would stick. It was all about reaching the masses. But AI, well, it's completely flipped that script. Now, the goal is what we call hyper-personalization. Instead of one message for a million people, AI makes it possible to have a million different messages, each tailored to one single person. This is a massive shift from being product-focused to being truly customer-obsessed. It's about creating an experience that feels like it was made just for you. And you see this in the real world all the time. Starbucks is a perfect example. Their AI platform, Deep Brew, isn't just sending you some random coupon. It knows your order, it knows what time you usually come in, and it can even suggest that little food item it has a pretty good hunch you're gonna love. And the results are obvious. Customers feel seen, they engage more, and they end up spending more. All right, let's switch gears and talk about operations. Picture a factory floor, a massive warehouse, a supply chain. You see this number here? 50%. That's huge. But 50% of what exactly? That's the potential reduction in unplanned downtime for equipment. Using AI-powered sensors, you can predict when a machine is going to fail before it actually does. And yeah, saving money on repairs is great, but the real value, the big win here, is resilience. It's the power to keep your business running like clockwork without those costly, surprise interruptions. And what about in finance? The change is just as dramatic. Traditionally, an auditor could only check a tiny little sample of a company's transactions. It was the best they could do. But now, with AI, they can analyze every single one. We're talking 100%. This isn't just a small improvement, it is a monumental leap forward in accuracy and in reducing risk. So we've seen how powerful this stuff can be across the board, but how do you actually make it work successfully? And just as important, how do you do it safely? Well, this brings us right back to that quote from the beginning. It's not about the tech, it's about the organizational framework you build around it. You know, a successful AI project isn't magic. It follows a pretty clear path. And notice, it doesn't start with tech. It starts with strategy, figuring out exactly what business problem you want to solve. Then you have to get your foundation right, your data. Only then do you bring in the team and build the culture. And finally, you realize it's a living, breathing process of testing and improving, not some one-and-done installation. But this opens up a huge can of worms, right? An AI is only as good or as bad as the data you feed it.
So where do these blind spots, these unfair assumptions, actually come from?
Well, bias can sneak in a few key ways. Maybe the data you use to train the AI just doesn't look like the real world, so it makes skewed decisions. Or the AI could just learn to copy old, outdated patterns it finds in historical data, essentially locking in the prejudices of the past. This isn't just some tech glitch. It's a serious business risk that you have to actively manage. And that's why having a strong governance framework is so critical. This isn't just about doing the right thing. It's a strategic must-have for managing risk. Look here. Fairness isn't just nice. It protects you from legal and reputational damage. Transparency builds trust and lets you find problems. Accountability means somebody is in charge. And keeping humans in the loop, well, that's your ultimate safety net. Each one of these has a direct impact on the bottom line.
Okay, we have covered a ton of ground. So let's boil it all down into a final, actionable playbook. Think of these as the 4 essential rules for getting AI right, straight from this report.
Rule number 1, and this is the big one, prioritize your governance over the technology. Your success is going to be determined by your strategy, your ethical rules, and your team culture, not by the specific algorithm you happen to choose. Get the people and the plan right first. Rule number 2, shift your thinking from just automation to augmentation. Remember our copilot? Yes, AI is great at doing boring, repetitive tasks, but the real, truly transformative value comes when it makes your people better at their jobs, making your team smarter, more creative, and more proactive. Number 3 is crucial. You have to embrace perpetual maintenance. An AI model is not a piece of software you just install and forget about. The world is constantly changing, your data is changing, and so your AI has to change with it. It's a living system that needs constant care and feeding. And finally, rule number 4, a really practical one. Adopt a defensive strategy for your intellectual property. Right now, the laws around patenting AI are murky at best. The most reliable way to protect your unique models and data is to treat them like a trade secret. Keep your secret sauce secret. So, there you have it. AI is no longer something way off on the horizon. It's here, it's in the cockpit, and it's ready to be your strategic co-pilot to help you navigate, predict, and perform better than ever. The only real question left is, are you ready to take the controls? Thanks so much for joining me.